Hello and welcome in. I am Miss Kinghorn and we are here in Paralives for the very first time. Yeah. This is a game I have been watching for a while and I'm super looking forward to seeing how this develops now that we're in early access. And yeah, I'm excited to see what comes out of it. But this is not my first build, this is number 2 in here. My first build was like complete when I noticed that there was a massive big bug. And it's in early access. Bugs are a thing, that we know about them, we're prepared for them, but it basically ruined everything in the build and in the world. So I couldn't really use that one, so I decided to build a completely different one in here. So what I have decided to go for today is a coastal home here, right on the beach, and I thought this would be a really nice little place to go. So yeah, we end up with I'm gonna say it's a 2.5 story. It's kind of has a room up on the very top floor that is actually a bedroom, but you can obviously use it for whatever you like. It could be like a full hobby room if you really wanted to, but I've kind of gone for a very coastal kind of theme into here, so very much light sort of pastel colours, and sort of lots of softness coming in here from the coast. Now I am also still playing around with this, so yeah, you're gonna have to forgive me for placing things and then not liking them and going backwards and forwards. I did also experience some bugs. I was saying about the big one that affected my first build. These ones aren't really that bad, they're just kind of irritating, and kind of ruined some screenshots at the end. But essentially what happens is I go to place something and another one randomly places somewhere on the lot and I can't delete the other one. So if there's a random picnic table in the garden, that's why. If there is a random rug that doesn't work, that's why. Essentially put, you'll still see all of those in here. But I am coming around, I've placed a couple of columns, the wallpaper, the roofing. Roofing is super easy to use. Love how this all sort of works into there, and the wallpaper, gorgeous. I love the fact that we can change the colours with the colour wheel. Finally. And you'll sort of see I pick a colour and we basically roll with it throughout everything into here. And yeah, you're going to find it right here. That is the blue we use for everything essentially in here, but a really nice sort of pastel kind of blue in there. I thought we'll keep it on theme with the sort of coastal look into there. But yeah, the ability to stretch windows, doors, archways, paintings, rugs. Yes. Finally, I think I've been kind of wanting something like this for a while, and obviously we've sort of seen it in videos from this game of like what we can do, but now I've actually got my hands on it, I think I'm having a lot more fun into here. Now, I was thinking of changing it up and doing dark blue windows, I just didn't quite work for me. So in the end, I go and place that lovely, nice blue into here that we have now got on everywhere, and we're going to change all of the windows again into there. So this actually ends up being a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home. Now, I have actually made both of the bedrooms into like main bedrooms. They've both got like a double bed in them. I know at this point that we're not gonna get, or not able to do like holiday homes or kind of rentals or anything like that. What I was thinking when I was building this is that this is like a rental home. So this is somewhere where you can like rent for the weekend, like on the coast, gorgeous kind of sea views, private beach, that sort of thing. I just thought that would be kind of perfect into there, but obviously you can have it for two friends who want to live together, or something along those lines. If you kind of wanted that way into there, or you can easily change one of the bedrooms into a kid's bedroom. They are both pretty large though, so yeah, I will warn you about that one into here. But yeah, we've kind of got the back little patio out there. I would have thought that this would have had a nice little swimming pool in it, or maybe a hot tub or something, but they're future plans into there. And yeah, we are very quickly going to run out of money. I'm just going to throw it out there now. We are using quite a few plants here, and some bits and pieces. Now, there are sheets available, so I have used some of those. You'll sort of see those later on into here. I'm just kind of filling out the grass to kind of make it look a little bit more natural, because I kind of changed where the door goes. Yeah, there are little issues, like I can't delete that plant or that weed, it's just there. But yeah, that is just one of those things into there. A few more white little plants, and then also grabbing out some window boxes into here. Now, this is the kind of the floor plan that we have. So I wanted downstairs a kitchen, dining room, and a living space. I fixed the roof, don't I? Into here, but I also wanted access upstairs, obviously, and we kind of smoosh this all in. And then upstairs we have another bedroom, or we have a bedroom and a bathroom, and kind of like a small seating area in there, which I actually kind of turn into a bit of an art studio. So we have kind of a little artist's easel and some paints and stuff. And then on the top floor we have another bedroom as well. You're going to sort of see how we work all of these out. So the bathroom actually ends up being quite large. That's just the way it kind of ends up being into here. Now obviously you can have either of these as the main bedroom. I personally would go for the top floor one, just because it's like kids and stairs. I just kind of think maybe going up one flight of stairs is easier than going up two, but you know, that's just me into here. So yeah, now we're getting in soft wallpaper. We kind of get this in everywhere, and then we do end up changing a little bit of it just so that it kind of matches where I want kind of feature walls and things like that. I'm kind of going through them all, trying to find a nice feature, a nice focus wall into here, and I think we actually go for that one, and then bring in the turquoise into there in one of the bedrooms, and then upstairs we leave it all green in kind of that duck egg blue, don't say that quickly, into there. And now we are getting in. I wanted a little fence, and it was like, oh, we can do things off of the grid, it's all fine. We don't have any gates, which is kind of annoying, I've got to be honest, but yeah, I thought we can do that, and then I can just delete the little bit, but no. In the end, we kind of just have a straight fence along the front that doesn't kind of match in with the kind of road layout, but hey, I got a nice little white picket fence in to here. If you notice that dark blue picnic table outside, that is because I placed one. I placed a light blue one, and now I have a dark blue one. But we're going to work here in the kitchen. Now, this, I'm going to be fair, was a little bit troublesome. I have since found another easier way of doing this, but I didn't know that at the time. So you're going to kind of see me struggle a little bit more into here. That's just me being me and not really paying any attention to any of the early access kind of videos. I've seen a lot of tutorials and kind of other builds by other people that explain things a little easier, which I should probably have watched beforehand, but you know me. I don't like to make things easy on myself when I have the option to make things as difficult as possible. Anyway, we have a little laundry nook kind of under the stairs here. Now, I'm not entirely sure if they're able to use the top one. It did allow me to place it, so I'm kind of hoping it does, but you know, I'm not 100% sure, so you'll have to sort of, yeah, but maybe possibly into there. But clutter, there is so many pieces of clutter available right from the beginning that I absolutely love. I do have a slight issue in the fact that some of it is quite difficult to find. It was only really that I was sort of going through again and sort of found a few items that are like in a separate category, like, or subcategory, and yeah, it just made things a little bit more difficult than maybe they could have been. But that's just me wanting to kind of get this done quickly, but then also knowing that I have messed up the first video and I had even less time into there. So yeah, that is basically the kitchen all cluttered. So we've kind of got all of those bits and pieces that I think you would kind of expect from a kitchen of mine. Lots of kind of bottles, some dirty plates, some like baking equipment over onto one side so that you can sort of get in with all of that. Yeah, I have got to say, for this being brand new, early access, I think this game actually has enough. It had enough to build this home in, and I think I could have maybe used a little bit more items. I could have gone a little bit different with it, but there is also so much different versatile stuff in here that I could have done more. And I think for a base game, that is something that's really important. I didn't feel like I couldn't build, which is a good thing. Yeah, there's the rug. I don't know what happened. It was just one of those things. Maybe it's me. Let me know down in the comments if it is just a me issue or not in here. But these are all the pictures. I absolutely love these. I wanted to kind of use some coastal ones in here. So we've kind of got the shipwreck kind of old boat in like the storm. And I thought that was really nice because it's a little bit darker on the walls and a little bit darker blue than everything else. So that's really good. I love the fact that we can change the height of the curtains, blinds, and the width and things like that. That is, yeah. I'm going to point these out to you quite frequently. You're just going to have to live with it or switch off. If you're here still, drop me a follow. It would mean the world to me. Anyway, moving on. In here, this sort of dining area, there's not really too much in here because it kind of was also the entrance hallway. So I have just placed a bench on one side because yes, we have them, and 2 chairs on the other. I did accidentally also place another chair in the living room, but hey. In here, so finishing off this sort of laundry kind of nook under the stairs, just placing in some other kind of items that just kind of make it a little bit more sense for that space. Some shoes and some basket of washing, things like that. In here, I did find a fire alarm, so I placed that by the cooker, and then I've also gone round and placed some lights in too, just some light switches in here. And yeah, I'm very quickly running out of money. What happened? I thought I had plenty of money for this. Turns out I didn't. Same with The Sims, if you press Control C, you get the cheat bar up, and I've just given myself loads more money. I did have to have a little play around on that because I couldn't remember it off the top of my head. I ended up watching a video on the cheats of the game, but yeah, we got there in the end, and now we're off to furnishing the rest of the house because I basically had spent all of my money, and I think I had like 23,000 in the end on literally the lot, the exterior, the kitchen, dining room. That's literally yeah, that's it. So I would not want to know how expensive this house actually ends up being, but yeah, it's quite a lot into there. And yeah, I think though that actually what I've done is pretty good in there, but obviously I will let you be the judge. Let me know down in the comments if you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you want to see more of this. I'm kind of planning this to be my only video for it, until maybe like an update or something new kind of comes out or something kind of along that. I'm kind of looking at my schedule going, how am I gonna fit it all in? We have Planet Zoo news. Yeah, I was kind of expecting an announcement for that. I was not expecting the date. It's about a month and a half earlier than I was expecting. So, we are going to go back to Planet Zoo. I have 5 animals to get in and basically 6 episodes to do. So, we are going back to it, and yeah, I'm going to somehow manage to squish it all into the schedule somehow at some point. So yeah, keep an eye out for all of those, because I know everybody loved the Red Lane Zoo, so we're going to be back into that at some point soon into that. But anyway, we're here talking about Paralives. So I've kind of gone slightly darker with the sofas. I thought it was just a nice contrast to the kind of lighter kind of colours that we've got everywhere else, and then the white of like the cushions just kind of brings it out a little bit more. I've got to be fair, I've kind of got a sofa very similar to the ones we've used in here, and we've kind of got like light sort of red cushions on them, and the contrast actually works really nicely. But I thought for this one we'll go for white, and just sort of that creams and the sort of burgundy brings that all into here. Yeah, that is now the downstairs all done. We're now going to jump on up into the first floor, into here, and this bathroom, it looks huge, don't get me wrong, but yeah, when you actually start filling it out, it takes up quite a lot of space, especially this kind of bath, which weirdly wanted to snap the wrong way, so you would have to get in over the taps. I don't know why. I managed to turn it around and kind of force it in to there. So you kind of have a standalone sort of wet room shower into there, a big sort of bathtub, and then a double vanity in here. Now, I was saying about kitchen clutter downstairs. I'm gonna be honest with you, there's really not that much bathroom clutter. You would have noticed there I placed down like a toothbrush and toothpaste and a bar of soap. That really is kind of it. I do end up using like this shelving unit, and we get some towels, but I kind of have to stack the towels and end up using like 3 of them on here, and like some bottles of like shampoo and face cream, and also really a box of tissues. That's really all the clutter we had for that. It's not a small thing, I know it's base game, but I would have just preferred maybe a little bit more into here. Now, this is the first of the bedrooms, so this is probably actually the bigger of the 2 bedrooms, but this is the one that I said would actually work as a kid's room, if you could kind of do it as like maybe a twins room, so you'd have like 2 single beds. I think maybe that would work a little bit better into here. Lots of kind of toys spread out everywhere, that sort of thing. And yeah, I end up with a little picture wall, and we end up with the 3 little ducks, which I find adorable and just really, really cute into there. Again, kind of plays into the kids theme, but with a big bed. Into here, we do end up getting the colours in as usual. So I kind of went for the stripes that we've got downstairs on the sofas, and then I do change the rug as well, so that kind of fits a little bit better into there as well. And yeah, although the stripes go the opposite way, I kind of like the contrast into there. But now this is a little hallway art studio kind of space in here. I get out a little kind of very comfy snug little sofa in here. I was thinking of a bookshelf. We end up having a bookshelf downstairs in the living room, and I didn't know if this one was actually going to be usable because it's under the stairs, so I kind of ended up going for a little easel. And then I found some sort of paint clutter, and I thought it would be perfect to kind of put in under here as well, just to kind of make this feel a little bit more realistic into there. So that's kind of this room done. I've also got some skipping ropes and some easels just sort of tucked into there as well. because, you know, why not in there. Now we're going to jump up, once we put in another little newspaper into there, we're going to jump up to the last bedroom. Now this one I kind of go a little bit different for. I was kind of a little bit bored of the light blue in here, so in the end I actually kind of turn this a little bit darker blue, so we kind of have this sort of naval kind of blue coming through, and then we change it up with some lighter end tables into there, and then also getting a dark blue sort of wardrobe set up there as well. But this is very quickly coming to the end of the video. Now I have taken some screenshots for you. There's not too many because I was kind of trying to avoid putting items where the game is bugged into it as well for you. But if you have enjoyed this build, then make sure to give me a follow and subscribe into here. You can also like this video, it would mean so very, very much to me. If you would like to see more or different content, then let me know down in the description, down in the comments. My social medias are linked in the description, so you can follow me on all social medias as well. But until next time, stay happy and stay building, everyone. Bye.